All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Raw Talk with Nate and Matt. Sorry, we're a little behind schedule here, but we're here nonetheless, and we're ready to have some unfiltered raw talk. Nate, how you doing?
Good, brother. Good. Good to see you, man.
You as well. You as well. What's been going on? You have a good week?
Yeah, this week's been really good. We've been catching up on some work. We've got a couple new books in the works that we're working on.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, we got back from our trip from Oregon the day before Halloween. So that was really fun. Yeah, we missed you last Saturday. Halloween
Yeah.
it was thumping out there, man. We live downtown Las Vegas, and I woke up. We went to bed at 8 o'clock at night on
Okay.
Halloween.
Nice.
So we just got back from our trip, and but I woke up at like 2 in the morning and was like, oh, like this is going off out there. So
Yeah.
I look outside, and I swear I feel like maybe St. Patty's Day can rival it, but St. Patty's, definitely Halloween, and then New Year's would be the most people that are out on the streets of Fremont, right? Because we look out our balcony and we're looking basically at Fremont. We're right above Fremont East. The tunnel starts like right on the other side of the street.
Okay.
The Vivo Vision Tunnel, it's called, which is really cool. It's like 4 or 5 blocks of just one solid tunnel, and the tunnel's an
Cool.
LED screen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, there were so many people, man. Me and my cat Dove, we're just sitting there at the window, like both of our heads just looking back and forth, just like looking at just. It was just absolute chaos.
Wow.
But yeah, this week's been good, man. Beautiful weather. We got a nice hike planned for tomorrow for our self care Sunday. We do hikes on Sundays.
Love it.
Yeah, other than that, man, everything is good. How about you?
Yeah, things are good here too. We were the only house with our light on for Halloween, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, in our block. So and it was pretty cold here, so probably not
Mm,
not the same environment as Vegas, but
right.
yeah, it was still a good night. Our little guy just kept coming back to our door. He would ring our doorbell, and so we'd just pick up. We'd find things throughout the house to have on the plate. We had like little ring lights and things. So
That
yeah,
is awesome, man.
yeah,
The like little glow bracelets I
yep,
saw you guys had.
yep,
Those are cool. That's what we would hand out
yeah,
before we moved down here. We're in a high rise, so nobody comes to your door here.
sure.
But yeah, that's cool. So was how old is he again?
3.
Okay, so this is kind of like very possibly might be one of the first Halloweens that he maybe will be able to recall later in life.
Could be. Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. It's hard to remember back. We were talking just yesterday on our walk, me and Lissa, and I was talking about where I lived when I was in kindergarten, first and second grade. And I remember going on nature hikes in kindergarten. I remember the cups, the little sippy cup lids that we had. I remember pasting stuff with like the popsicle stick, making paste and,
Yeah.
crafts. I don't remember what we were making. I just remember the paste on the popsicle stick. And I didn't eat the paste. I never ate the
Mm.
paste. Some of those kids would be eating the paste. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't a paste
I
eater
didn't.
either. I never
Yeah,
tried it, but I
I never
remember
tried it.
my friend
Yeah.
Ben loved the paste. I don't know what he's doing today, but back
Oh my
back then
gosh.
he loved it.
He might be stopped up, bro.
He might be.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like just picturing a lot of, I feel like these memories that we might have from way back are from pictures. You look at a picture when you were a kid, and
Yeah.
it brings back a little memory. I remember going to an air show, and I remember all the people being in the stroller, and I remember just so many people and how loud it was. And fun fact, there's actually only two fears that we are born with, and everything else is learned after that, which is the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling.
Mm.
Those are just like natural fears that we have, right?
Yep.
Um, Yeah, so I know it's interesting though. Yeah, just picturing, and then I was also picturing how I was able to just go by myself. It was just me. It was me and my dog.
Mm,
First, second grade, I'd be out in the woods, like, I mean, what seemed to be all day long, but it was probably only like a few hours or whatever.
mm-hmm.
And we actually read a post. I saw a post this morning talking about how they took a poll from kids. I'm not sure the age of the kids, but to see like if they would rather be on the screens or rather be outside playing. And like 75% wanted to be out playing.
Mm,
But nowadays, so many parents, and rightfully so, are more they're more scared to let their kids go out and play. And there's not other kids out
yeah.
playing in the cul-de-sacs or the neighborhood
Yep.
because, everybody's trying to like protect, we're as parents we're trying to protect our kids, but
Yeah.
it's interesting too, the statistic that they say um, of how much of our life we're going to be spending scrolling. Like,
Yeah.
this is a weird statistic as well. Like, um, Lissa was telling me this yesterday. She read that, like, say for you and I, the life that we have left,
Mm-hmm.
aside from eating and working and, showering and all the stuff, shopping and these sorts of things, like for food, the time that we have idle, 90% or like 92 or 93% of that time will be spent scrolling.
Wow.
I was
I
like,
believe it.
what? That is crazy. Like, I mean, and I can understand why there's certain people. I mean, you may have seen this. You're like, oh, they don't follow anybody, like say on Instagram.
Yeah.
They have zero, they have zero people that they follow. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's kind of nice. There's nothing in their feed.
Kenny Raw was the first person I saw do that. It's like,
Yep. I was thinking of Tanny Raw
wow.
too. There was Tanny Raw, and then I've seen a couple others where like there might be like two or three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been trying to make it a point to go through
Yeah.
and like unfollow a
Yes.
couple because I'm like, who are they? Why am I following this person or
Yep.
these, this business or whatever?
Yep.
But 93% of our life would be spent scrolling.
And it's funny that correlates with it's not the same. I guess it kind of is, but 7% from what I've heard. This is just a stat that I heard. 7% of Americans, anyways, of our time is spent outside now. Only 7%
Wow.
for the average person. So over
Yeah.
90% of people's time is spent indoors, which
And
is
it'll be even less time outdoors
mhm,
with new technology that's
yeah,
coming out, like
yeah,
the visual or virtual reality stuff, right?
yep,
I I never was really like I had a Nintendo. I can't remember how old I was. Maybe I was like 11 or 12 when I got the Nintendo, but
hmm
we had an Atari,
I never
or we
had
had
one of
like
those.
another game console that was like a real, just like it was one of the cheaper models. It
Mhm.
wasn't like the name brand Atari. But I don't know, like I could play for a little bit, but I was into hiking with my dog and I had a dirt bike. So like
Mhm.
all I wanted to do was just go dirt bike ride. And that was
Nice.
so much freedom. Like I had friends that were like sometimes a few miles away, but we lived way out in the desert. So I just had dirt roads and trails to get to their house.
Cool. Where'd you
They
grow
had
up?
dirt bikes too. Um, so I was born in Orange County,
Okay.
and then my mom met my dad when I was two and a half. I've never met my biological, so I don't, really
Okay.
know that story. But so she met my dad when I was like two and a half, and we lived in La Habra. And then we moved up to, he had a house up in the mountains.
Mm.
So we moved up to the mountains. So that was Crestline, it's called, or we were actually in what's called Cedar Pines Park,
Okay.
and it's kind of like Lake Arrowhead area. Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear. It's the mountain range that separates the desert from San Bernardino and LA County area.
Okay.
So we were up in those mountains, and um, so and then third grade we moved down to Apple Valley. It's the high desert. Hesperia, Victorville, that whole area, Lucerne Valley. It's kind of like it's the first desert, that you hit when you come up over the mountain from LA area.
Cool.
So I grew up there from third grade to 10th grade. So that's a huge developing part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I feel so drawn to the desert, like how easy it was for me to move back to the desert after living in Oregon for 30 years.
Yeah. I
So, but
wondered how
yeah,
that
so I,
transition would be because I know you're like a big outdoors guy. So I was like,
yeah, dude, the desert's amazing.
yeah.
Like it's clean.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
sterile,
Right.
kind of, but it's not really. There's so much life in the desert.
Yeah.
There's not as much as, say the forests. Of course, we have the moss and all this, things, but there is so much life in the desert and it's so beautiful. And I spent a lot of time by myself in the desert. Um, so yeah, the transition here was pretty simple for me. For Lissa, it was super simple as well. She was excited to be in the warmth,
Mm.
get out of Canada.
Yeah.
It's a vacation kind of resort city in a lot of ways. So people are here, for a good time. Um, and palm trees are everywhere, which palm trees to her coming from Edmonton,
Hmm.
Canada means vacation, right? So
Yeah.
has that kind of energy. But yeah, the transition was easy for the fact that we have so many amazing national parks within arm's reach, so to speak. Arm's reach being, anywhere from 40 minutes to 4 hours.
Okay.
I think the furthest that we would, maybe go in a day without like, wanting to maybe spend the night, comfortably. Like I've done 14-hour days on the road and it's just a long day. It's nice to split those up.
Yeah.
But Moab and Arches is about 5 hours from here. So that's like, one of the furthest five, maybe a little bit more than five. But Grand Canyon, 4 hours, Venice Beach, 4 hours, like
Yeah.
Tahoe's a little bit further. It might be like more like seven, 6 or 7, but we can get to like Mammoth Lakes in that area and, 4.5 hours.
Cool.
We have Zion, Bryce, Zion's only like a couple hours away. And it's funny because of growing up in Oregon, I'm like, oh, that's like driving to the coast.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
where we used to live is 2.5 hours to the coast. So it's like 2.5 hours to Zion. So I'm like, oh, it's like driving to the coast. I tell, like my kids, like,
Yeah.
how far is it? I'm like, oh, it's like driving to the coast. But yeah, so the transition was easy, in a lot of
Sure.
ways. Like I feel like I kind of came home.
Yeah. It's
And
cool.
when my boys came here to visit for the first time, because they were like, why Vegas, Dad? Like, I can't picture you in Vegas. Ugh, this is not you. And I'm like, it's so funny how we, compartmentalize who people are and where they belong or how they're supposed to dress or whatever in our minds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But we took them everywhere. We took them to Valley of Fire, to Zion, to Bryce, to Arches, or to Horseshoe Bend in Arizona. We did the Antelope Canyon, and they're like, okay, I get it,
Yeah.
because they grew up in Oregon. They're born and raised in Oregon, so that's what they know. But I was born in Orange County, but raised in the desert. So I'm like, yeah, this is home to me. Like the greasewood bushes and the Joshua trees and the cholla cactus, like all of this is so familiar because third grade to 10th grade, this was my stomping grounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I didn't
I
know
know,
any of that
man.
about you.
Right, right. Well, what about you? Where did you grow up?
I've lived in southern Minnesota my entire life, sadly. I mean, it's an all right place. It's beautiful in the summer, for like
Hmm.
3 or 4 months, and then the rest of the
Okay.
year
Yeah.
is overcast and
Mm,
kind of shitty. So,
yeah. Is it kind of damp
um, a
or is
little.
it dry?
It's it's humid. It's definitely
Okay.
it's humid here.
Okay. So it's
Um,
like damp,
yeah.
damp and cold, wet and cold.
Yes. Yeah, like right
Yeah. Yeah.
today it's like 47 is the high.
Mm.
So,
Oof.
yeah,
Well,
man, it's
yeah.
not ideal.
Let me see
So,
what we have here. It's got to be like close to 80 today in Las Vegas.
okay.
What
Love
is
it.
our high going to be today? Oh, it's going to be 79.
Nice.
And then our humidity level it's a beautiful day. We've got a 3 mile an hour wind, super chill. Um, humidity levels 38%. Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that is a bit higher than in the summertime, but not like what you guys have there, which probably like more like 50 or even more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let
Yeah.
me see what we got today.
In Oregon, bro, when we went to Oregon, because we like to go for autumn, get all the
Yeah.
The leaves changing colors is so beautiful. Vegas here, the trees are like, what are we doing? Are we supposed to lose our chlorophyll?
Right. Yeah.
But the cold dampness of the PNW, I do
Mm-hmm.
not miss.
Yeah.
I love the PNW. The Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
is it'll always hold a special piece of my heart. But I tell the boys too, they're like, when are you gonna move back? I'm like, we're never moving back. Ever. I'm like, we'll be the when they have grandkids, we'll be the cool grandparents that live in Vegas with the pool. You
Right.
know, like
Exactly.
we're not moving back.
Yeah. So do you think you'll stay in Vegas long term?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll probably die here, bro.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, I mean, aside from it being like one of the entertainment capitals of the world, it's just like it's a great hub. We have five Costco's, in Vegas and the surrounding areas like Summerlin, Henderson, Centennial. They just built a new one, I feel like, too. So just the amenities is what we
Mm-hmm.
really like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amenities, a lot of like, we get really good produce because we're so close to LA. And there are some stuff that we get that, comes in from Florida, of course, like
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, but we get a lot of, you know, having done produce runs with John Kohler to LA
Yeah.
and kind of seeing how all that works. I'm like, wow, like look at all this produce that we're getting directly from, just a few hours away is where it was grown. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cheaper.
That's awesome.
Um, yes, there's a lot of aspects that we had envisioned for a while, like, oh, North Shore of Tahoe. That would be a really great place to go. And we go through North Shore of Tahoe every time when we come back from our Oregon trip. We'll stop at, Chef AJ and Charles and stay there. We'll see Rick and Karen or whatever. And then we'll take up, a little bit more of out of the way to go through Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of being there. And maybe if I was a bit younger, I could see wanting to keep that one alive. But, I'm pushing 50 and I kind of like the idea of a gated community. Like there's some really nice gated communities here in Vegas, and we actually have like an area that we have our eye on. We're not like in the market or anything to move, like for quite a while. Like we
Yeah.
love where we're at right now. It's really fun. This is that chapter we'll look back. Like, remember when we lived downtown in the high rise, on Fremont and Las Vegas Boulevard? That was such a fun time period.
Yeah.
But the um the aspect of living in Tahoe would be hard in the wintertime because they get a good amount of snow. It's super small and compact in a lot of ways. The traffic can be really, congested there. Like we've been through there and there's like just a lot, it's only a 2-lane road. And then, if we want to go to Costco or Winco, we're going to have to drive down to Carson City, which would be like at least a 30 to 45-minute drive in nice weather.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it could be an hour and a half one way or more in the snow in the wintertime. And then, of course, you have the lake effect. It's dry there, so we wouldn't have as much moisture because the more moist the air is, the colder it is,
Sure. Yeah.
right?
That's for
The
sure.
drier it is, it's not as cold because, yeah, I don't know, something about that moisture just like gets in you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of scratched that idea of Tahoe. And now we're like, you know what? Because both of us just love the heat. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll take walks midday. It's 117, 120. I'm taking my infrared thermometer, and the sidewalk is literally, bro, like 147
Oh
degrees on the
wow.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
And it's hot, but it's a dry heat, so it
Right.
doesn't like take it out of you the same as like where you're at.
Yeah.
Like in the summer, if it's 95, bro, where you're at or 97, you're dying.
Yep.
You're like, oh, it's hard to breathe.
Yes.
So yeah, we're kind of one of those. We're just desert dwellers,
Yeah.
man. We're like, we love it. We love the heat and the dryness and the sunsets, the skies. Being able to see so far. And of course, I mean, it'd be cool to have the Stargate or something where we could just step through and be in other places, right?
Right.
Really quick.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's kind of what we've decided this year. We're like, this is it. I
Okay.
think we're here. Like, this is probably going to be us. Yeah, we'll be the Vegas people. And then,
Nice.
of course, being raw foodies, we also are like, we want to show, you don't have to live in Costa Rica or, like some tropical paradise or whatever to do raw,
Mm-hmm.
like for sure, you might get good fruit and it's kind of interesting. You get the ups and downs, the pros and cons, because we have friends who live in Bali. We have friends who live in Puerto Rico, in Costa Rica, um, and a few other, tropical areas like, Chef Yin with,
Mm-hmm.
they're over in Malaysia.
Yep.
And, just talking to them, like, give us the lowdown, like straight up. And yeah, sometimes, it can be more glamorized than it, like when Yin and Az were here, they're like, you guys have way more access to so much more variety
Oh
and
yeah.
so much cheaper
Mm,
than other places that they visited.
sure.
So that's kind of cool too. We're like, oh wow, like, we're getting some really epic stuff. No durians not falling out on the streets, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we'll vacation to those places. But who knows? This is just we don't know how stuff's going. I mean, we as people we can plan for things, in our life, and sometimes life has other plans, So,
Yeah.
who knows? Like, I love the idea. I'm like, man, if we were to live in another country where our dollar can be 4 or 5 times worth 4 or 5 times more
Right.
than it is here,
Yep.
But then again, Alyssa's like, yeah, but we wouldn't be getting Amazon packages. And I'm
Yeah.
like, huh, that's kind of tricky
Exactly.
too. I do like, we have the Amazon hub, literally, like I can see the
Really.
hub from the roof. Like, so a lot of times we get stuff that day or the next day. So we're
Wow.
spoiled in a
Dang.
lot of ways.
The same day you order it, you can get it sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Like I ordered before we started today, I was telling you about that stand I'm going to be building.
Yeah.
And I ordered all the stuff yesterday and it's going to be here tomorrow. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Like, I mean, there might be some things you have to wait a while,
Sure.
but, and, I'm definitely a kind of person that I could live in, I like the concept. I've never been to too many third world countries. Mexico's the farthest I've been,
Me too.
but I like the concept. Like, I feel like I could get into it and it would definitely change. You would be a different person. You're going to be a different person in different places,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, somebody mentioned high carb. Looks like Rocky. What's up, Rocky? Thanks for being here. And everybody else. A lot of great comments in here we'll get to. But
Oh, sweet.
Rocky said high carb Hannah moved to Hawaii. I don't think she moved to Hawaii,
Right.
did she? Wasn't
You know,
I thought it was somewhere else. Maybe it.
they were in Arizona for a little while.
Yeah.
Her and her dude. I didn't really tap into her content as much. But our friend Angelica, she, was in her group and just loves Hannah. So she would kind of keep us updated as to what they're doing
Yeah.
or what they were doing. So yeah, but I don't know what they're doing now, but I know they were in Arizona for a while and they were building a place and they were filming that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
I think that was a few
Mm,
years ago.
yeah.
And then
I love the idea,
yeah,
like Hawaii is amazing. I have been to Hawaii.
I
There are
love
certain parts
Hawaii.
of Mexico, like, oh, I would love to live in Mexico. Like you don't need lotion. You know what I mean? Like your skin's just like so it's a lot. It's really humid.
Yeah.
It's really, really humid. It's beautiful, beautiful country. And I know there's so many amazing places,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
many amazing places.
Okay. Yeah. So Rocky said,
People always are like, though, we get comments literally like at least once, if not 3 times a week. Why Vegas?
yeah, that was actually one of the comments in the chat.
Yeah. And, nowadays, like in the beginning, it's funny how we feel like we need to maybe justify ourselves to perfect strangers.
Yeah.
So we got tired of typing. So we wrote out this list of all the whys. For one, it's a great hub. You can fly anywhere in the world from Las Vegas. And flights are cheaper, here and to get to Oregon to see my kids or
Mm,
friends up there, I can be on the red eye and be on the river before 10:30 a.m. in Oregon, right?
Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe depending on the tickets, I've gone for as cheap as $67 round trip.
Wow.
Um, so that's one reason. We just had all these reasons, right? Like the temperature,
Yep.
the food, all the state parks and national parks that are everywhere. But now what we tell people is we say, we effed up. Don't come here. Like, we don't know what we did. We totally screwed up. Just to let people know, because like it is growing. Like there's a lot of people moving. There's a lot of people. I just feel like in general, it's like Denver was blowing up. Bend, Oregon's just exploding. Like all these different places that are just exploding. So much
Mm-hmm.
growth. And Vegas is no different. So much
Yeah.
growth here. A huge, huge reason, though, aside from the palm trees and the warm air, is that Nevada is one of, I want to say, 9 states that there is no state income tax.
Right.
So, being self employed, we save a lot more money here than what we were paying in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on your income bracket, like it was really expensive living in Oregon
Yeah.
in that aspect. So, no state income tax. And that's why we're like North Shore, Tahoe, because it's still in Nevada, South Shore is in California. Um, so that's a big part. But yeah, bro, like today it's 80 degrees. It's November 8th. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. And we love that weather.
Mm-hmm.
But again, sometimes depending on how feisty we're feeling, sometimes we don't want to justify or, uh, you know, whatever I'm trying to say, like give people like, here's the reasons, or defend
Yeah.
our choice of moving here. Because, most people have this idea of what Vegas is through movies like Hangover and commercialism and these sorts of things. It's like, escorts and mafia and gambling and drinking and people jumping off of buildings because they lost all their money gambling and all these
Mm.
sorts of things. But what's fun, like last night they had some killer music going on, and we open up our doors and you can just hear the music. It's just like killer party, but we're not a part of it. Like we don't go down and we don't dance and party and drink and eat all the funk, but it's there. It's just kind of cool to be in it,
Yeah.
but not of it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one thing that we like. It's like if we lived somewhere was really quiet, or I mean, of course, I love birds and frogs and crickets. I would like to hear that over the bus brakes, and cars and sirens and
Yeah.
somebody screaming. But Lissa grew up in the city.
Mm.
She grew up in Edmonton, Canada, over 1 million people. Like the bus brake sound is comforting to her. For me, it's like, I got to get a little used to that. But I've always wanted to live in a city because I've always lived like rural, like real rural,
Mm.
out in the boondocks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just, no state income tax, good fruit, like super fun entertainment. And of course, all these epic places. 45 minutes, we're up in the Spring Mountains with bristlecone pines. And, you've probably seen some of the pictures. You'd never know. That's like 30-minute drive, 40-minute drive from our place.
Oh.
You'd never know you were in the middle of the desert, middle of the Mojave Desert. Death Valley's amazing, so gorgeous, and it's not very far. Like all these different beautiful areas. And of course, like I said, we could be in LA in 3.5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
be on Venice Beach, like toes in the sand in less than 4.5 hours. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the majority of people, I have people tell me, like I had a good friend say just this last week, like, I can't imagine living there. And I'm like, well, some people's imaginations aren't very vivid. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a great imagination if you can't imagine, because like that's your imagination. You can imagine a lot of things. But yeah, it's not for everybody, for
Yeah.
sure. And people say like, oh, it's just not my vibe. And I'm like, yeah, it's not mine either, really. Like when we go into these casinos, we actually walked from downtown where we live to Bellagio, and they're setting up for F1, the F1 races.
Mm.
Vegas took on like a 10-year deal with F1. So F1's here. I think this is going to be the 3rd year, if I'm correct, if not the 4th. I believe it's the third, but either way, they set up, lights because they turn the strip into a race course,
Okay.
and then they go off the strip, to do this big loop or whatever. So, anyways, our plan was to walk down to Bellagio. We brought our smoothies, and we're walking in Fontainebleau, which they've been building this. They finished it. It was this resort casino that they took over 20 years to build, and it's just beautiful. And I'm looking up though. I'm looking at all the crown molding. I used to do construction. I've done some electrical work, and like I was going to get into doing like finished carpentry in homes, and it's just like absolutely incredible what we as humans build. And
Yeah.
I look down like eye level and I see all the games, it's beautiful like bright neon lights for all these, slot machines, and they're so different than they used to be, right? Everything's electronic, and I don't really care about that. But me and Lissa both like look at the chandeliers, look at how manicured everything is, and there's speakers outside when you're walking. It's a resort,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of fun. And we're at that age where, maybe we can appreciate that a bit more than when we were in our 20s or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But for some people, it's absolutely disgusting. And all they see is how disgusting it is. And I myself can walk around, and I have been in this frame of mind a few times being here, absolutely disgusted, feeling trapped like I'm on an island. It's hours in any direction to get to any other kind of civilization. And I can see how gross it is in so many ways, but I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on, the homeless on the street, and the trash over here and the pollution, but it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. And so, yeah, for us, Liz and I both are silver lining kind of people,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
we really focus on the beauty of it. Like, man, look how beautiful it is. Look at what we as humans, when we think about how a city's created, we got together as people. Like, oh, you have that? Like, let's post up right here. Shoot, I'm going to build a garden, and all of a sudden it becomes this big thing. And of course, if we get into the occult, darker side of the world and how it's run, yes, 100%. There are some really dark places that, or places that really dark people and organizations are running their, whatever out of. And Vegas is 100% one of those places.
Sure.
But it's kind of like that movie, I think is called Everything Everywhere All at Once or something like that.
Mm.
And my kids really liked that movie. I was like, we need to watch that one again. But that's kind of how I feel like it is here. It's everything, everywhere, like all at once. You got some guy over here smoking crack, literally, like packing a crack pipe, hooping out the back of his wheelchair because he's in a wheelchair. I
Mm.
saw this with my own eyes. Right out here, he's got his butt kind of, his pants are down, and he's taking a poo on the sidewalk while he's packing his crack pipe. And then right across the street, someone's getting married and getting their wedding pictures. And like, it's just crazy, bro. Like, it's so funny because it's like everything. I feel like Vegas is, in a lot of ways, can be viewed as like the truth. Like when we look at humanity, the mindset of people, if we were to just look at the psychology aspect alone, I feel like Vegas unveils a lot of the, different aspects of humanity that can very possibly give us hope that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
In the same breath, feel like we're totally doomed. You know what I mean? So this
Yeah.
is why we get out to the desert every Sunday. We go out for a hike, or we go up to the mountains just to like get in nature, because we're not in nature. I can't go walk outside and sit next to, a stream and hear some birds. I would love that. I would
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love that. There are birds here,
Okay.
and if we do live in a gated community and we have our little stream in the backyard, we can hear some birds, right? But yeah, and who knows? Like I was saying earlier, who knows? That's our plan. Our plan, though, is like, yeah, it's easy. We could just stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Yeah.
Go everywhere. We've got everything that we need here, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, people do really trip out. Why? Why Vegas though? And it's like I was saying, it's cheap to get back home to Oregon. It's
Yep.
close to my boys. Like Florida's another one of those. In Texas, no state income tax. I believe like one of the Dakotas. There's a couple back east. I believe there's 9 states. Washington's another one.
Okay.
Washington would have been closer, but ugh, I don't want to live in the cold, damp PNW anymore.
No.
So yeah, that's but yeah, like I said, and that's how it is. We don't understand why people do what they do. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? You know?
You got to
So
step outside of your box every once in a while. And that
yeah,
leads to some amazing things a lot of times. So,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely, man.
that's what,
And
I got to
that was
take
another
your
huge reason
what's that?
to move is I grew up 30 years in Oregon from
Yeah.
10th grade until I was 40. So 10th grade, I think I was 14 when I moved from 14 to 40. So that's like what is that? My math is bad. It's like 26 years. No, it's not 30 years. So 36 years. Should I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell us in the chat.
It'd be
But
26 years, yeah.
26 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 26 years in Oregon. And we would vacation there every year because my grandparents on my dad's side lived in Oregon. So we'd go
Mhm.
vacation for Christmas, go up for summer. I always wanted to move to Oregon. I couldn't wait to get out of the desert. It was so gross in the desert.
Mhm.
I wanted like rivers and blackberries growing wild everywhere. And um, you know, and I probably, I could definitely see still being in Oregon because it's easy to just stay in your hometown that you grew up in and you just stay there. You know everybody, you know where everything's at. You got all these memories and these back roads and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that was kind of the thing is like I had all these memories there. And I was with my ex for 25 years. Like we graduated Rogue River. Her parents graduated Rogue River.
Mm.
My kids graduated from Rogue River. And when we would go on a new road and I would say, man, I've never been on this road, I would see Lissa light up. She's like, you haven't? Like, she's like, oh my gosh, like so excited that she's exploring somewhere new in Oregon that I'd
Mhm.
never been.
Yeah.
And that was another big pull for me. It was like, you know what? Like, we should like uproot the kids. My boys are graduated now. Like, maybe and how it all worked. Like, the condo that we were living in Ashland was being sold.
Right.
We didn't want to buy it because sun exposure was horrible and just whatever, it wasn't our vibe. It was
Mhm.
just kind of like a little, it worked for right now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, man, it's so expensive here. And we always liked Vegas. That's where we basically met for the first time or hung out in person for the very first time, was in Vegas.
Mm.
So it's special in that way. um and just another huge draw was to create new memories and learn new roads,
Yeah.
create these new neural pathways together, places that we both have never been. And yes, that was another big draw
Yeah.
to here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, my stepdad's a director, or he was. He's retired now, but he was a director for a grocery store, a Midwest grocery store, and so
Mm,
they would move all over the Midwest. They lived in Kansas City, Lincoln, in Brookings, South Dakota. So I've been,
okay.
even though I've lived here my whole life, we've still,
Yeah.
for holidays and things, I've been going around the Midwest, anyways.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be in
Yeah.
Minnesota for the next 40 years of my life, so or 40
Right.
years
Right.
plus. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking to kind of do the same thing. And honestly, now
Yeah.
they just bought a place in Arizona. So
Your folks.
yeah, yep.
Okay.
So,
Where out in Arizona?
Mesa.
Okay. Dude,
So
Arizona is beautiful.
yeah,
It's so beautiful in Arizona.
nice.
That's where Jacob, my youngest, is like, I like Arizona. If I was to move to the desert, I'd want to move to Arizona. And I'm like, I kind of want to move to Utah. I feel like we're always going to Utah to play.
Yeah,
That's where like Moab and Bryce is and all these amazing places, Zion. But Arizona's cool. One thing that I was talking about to Lisa this morning when I read that post about how kids want to be playing outside,
yeah,
but instead of us as parents saying, go outside, we're like, go online, right? That's kind of sad. Like, it's really sad. It's not kind of sad. It's really sad in a lot of ways. But I will say, I love that my parents were able to get us out of California and that I was able to grow up essentially like become organized. 10th grade, middle of my 10th grade high school years when we moved. And it wasn't too hardcore because I had lots of friends there because, we would vacation there summers and Christmases and stuff, summers and winters. But I'm really, really glad that I was able to have, the life that I had there and raise, my boys in such a rural town. Like there was only like 2,500 people in Rogue River,
Mm-hmm.
so, and we
Yeah.
lived, we grew up like on the river, and I would not want to raise my kids here in Las Vegas. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. I would strive. I mean, I know that, if I was dead set on moving to a certain place, Lissa would be like, okay, let's, because she supports me. And likewise, like if she wanted to move somewhere, I'd be like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had kids, dude, I would not want to be raising them in Las Vegas.
Right. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
tough.
It's just not a conducive place, I feel like, for children in a lot of ways. Like I see people who, they have their kids out on Fremont Street,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a circus, bro. Like it's a circus here in so many ways. But yeah, this is not a place for kids, man. This
Mm-hmm.
is, like, and of course, if you look into the statistics of the schooling system and, the IQ or whatever, I don't know. There's all these kinds of statistics you can find in different areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this isn't a, but it's a city. There's nearly 3 million people here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids here. Not all of them are turning out to be completely degenerative,
Yeah. Right.
but
Right.
it's just, I would rather have my kids being, growing up in a smaller town
Mm-hmm.
and, close to nature,
Yeah.
not that there isn't nature here, right? But in any kind of city, you have to drive somewhere to get to nature. That's where I really do
Right.
feel fortunate that we were in Rogue River, because literally you could just walk across the street and be like in the woods,
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about where we're at now in southern Minnesota. It's just like it is a nice place to raise children. So,
Mm,
it's like, but then again, I love Kansas City as well. Have you been to Kansas City?
mm. I have not.
Beautiful place. I used to before my parents lived there and we visited them. I thought of Kansas City as just like this like industrial, just like
Mm.
kind of not beautiful place, but it's actually extremely beautiful. The weather is
Wow.
amazing, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I loved it. I could live in Kansas City, but
It's funny how we have images in our mind of places.
yeah,
Like when people hear Las Vegas, an image pops into their mind,
yep,
which is not the image that we see in our mind living here.
right,
Because when you said Kansas City, the immediate thought that came to my mind is just like Wizard of Oz in the beginning, opening scenes, open plains, just
yeah,
flat, desolate kind of
yeah,
podunk, right? But I don't know. But it's funny. Where does that thought come from? Like,
right,
how am I pulling up this image of Kansas City, which, if I were to look up some images, it would change my mind maybe. But
mm-hmm,
I know it's funny how we hold these, images in our mind
yep,
until we go there.
yeah. Same
And then,
with
of course, yeah, go ahead.
same with Michigan. For me,
Right.
like I had
Michigan.
no idea Michigan
Beautiful.
was as beautiful, and just like the energy in
Yeah.
Michigan. I don't know if it's just because
Right.
it was a retreat that we were going to or what,
Sure.
but
If you got out of the retreat and you went to some other areas, I feel like a lot of places, especially in the States, are pretty close to the same, like the good old boy
mm,
hunter mentality, right?
yeah,
Backwoods,
yeah,
rural, mudding, drinking beer,
yeah.
listening to some country. Um, I took a train from LA to Michigan because I have relatives in Gaylord,
Oh
actually.
wow. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, so I was like bummed that I wasn't able to go this last year. We're going this next year to the
Awesome.
vegan wellness retreat. Vegan wellness retreat, you guys.
Yes.
If you're keying in, come hang out with us. Like, let's go. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited.
Me too.
And I'm really excited to see some of my relatives that I haven't seen since I was like in seventh grade, eighth grade, because
Yeah.
that was when I took the trip. It was the summer between seventh and eighth grade. um, I was an amazing trip on the train. Took the train there and back, and I spent the summer in Gaylord. Like right on the, I had relatives right on the lake. Oh, it
Mm,
was so much fun, so beautiful.
yeah.
A lot like Oregon,
Mm,
that just that upper northern hemisphere of the states, I feel like is really, really similar in a lot of ways, except for the Dakotas, right?
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Dakota's a little bit more like not as many trees, still absolutely gorgeous. Well, I mean, we went to Sturgis. I'm trying to think of like
Oh, yeah.
everywhere we were at when we went to Sturgis, and
That's still a pretty beautiful place, though.
oh, gorgeous,
Yeah.
bro. Like I would love to live, it's I want to live so many lives. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I would love to live in Montana or the Dakotas,
Yeah.
right? Like I'd love to live in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to experience essentially like what it would be like to be someone who lives in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like no way in my wildest dreams would I ever want to move there.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But it was fun to be there and just see it. Like, I feel like a lot of us could have those feelings of it's nostalgic in a way
Mm.
because of so many movies and songs written and of course like the turn of events in '01, right? These
Yeah.
sorts of things like that draw us like when we're there, it's just like, wow, here we are. This is New York. This is amazing. This is a really interesting world. Gosh, such a crazy, crazy world. Like so many people.
Yeah.
We did the subways and went to see the Statue of Liberty, went downtown to the new Trade Center. We've stayed in Harlem, we've stayed in the Bronx, we've stayed in Brooklyn, and yeah, it'd be the same kind of thing. Like, why? Why would you want to move there?
Right.
Same thing that people say for us here, but
Mm-hmm.
different strokes for different folks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's why there's
Mm-hmm.
all these places for everybody to choose what they're drawn to.
Right. Dude, when we go to LA, we haven't been in a while. It's been shoot, probably it might even be like close to a couple years now since we've been to LA. But we were going like a few times a year. Coming home to Las Vegas from LA feels like going from, a big city to a small town.
Mm-hmm.
Because LA, there's in the surrounding areas 13 million people. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but it's right around there.
Okay.
And Vegas, we have nearly 3 million. So I'm like, the traffic in LA is crazy, just how compact and there's just stuff and things everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, coming back to Las Vegas, I'm like, oh, I love our cute little town, our sweet little city, Sin City, It's so different, coming. But of course, if you come from a small town to Vegas, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah. People come here for conventions.
Right.
I used to blow glass for like 15 years. I had my own glass blowing company in my
Oh,
backyard.
easy.
I had my glass studio, like, yeah, it was so fun, like being able to work at night, and hang with, the boys when they were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
my kids. And we would do conventions here. I would come to, the glass blowing conventions. And, I did a lot of all the stuff I did was paraphernalia, smoking accessories
Okay.
and sex toys,
Mm.
right? And so it was looped together with that world, the head shop stuff. Like you've got the bongs and the dildos, you know what I mean? And
That's all you need.
these right? And these worlds were meshed together in these conventions. And I always thought Vegas was the grossest place. I never wanted to move here. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I'd be living here
Mm-hmm.
ever.
Yeah.
It would never be, it would be like not on my list of the top 50 places that I'd want to move if I could choose to move somewhere. It's so interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I never got off the strip. Like we would get our hotel and you're doing a convention, you're working, you're doing a show, you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to show all your stuff, you're trying to make connections with other businesses, and then you'd go home. I never got out to the desert. I
Okay.
never, you know, saw these other places that were so close to us that's so beautiful. Or being able to hike some of these mountains and look into the Vegas Valley and be like, wow, this is where we live. There's a lot of mountains. Like we're living in a, you know, like it's just amazing. It's beautiful in so many ways. But yeah, with that, that's where I feel like a lot of people feel like I could never live in Las Vegas because they come here, you eat more food than you should, you drink way more than you should. You know, you maybe you're doing recreational drugs that you'd never do, right?
Yeah.
And you leave with that all those memories of just being like, I need to go home and like sleep for a week because I just got trashed this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what a lot of people hold in their minds of what Vegas
Oh
is.
yeah,
And, you
absolutely.
know, yeah. And locals, of course, like we love the strip, me and Lissa, just for the fact of how manicured and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just it's just fun. It's fun to be amongst all the people and, you know, just we don't, there's nowhere to eat. You know what I mean? So we bring our wraps or our smoothies with us and we'll try to shoot some content like, look, you could be a raw foodie downtown Las Vegas. Just bring your own stuff, you know?
Right.
There's like, I mean, there's a couple places you could go. I need to get better at calling some of these places to see if we could, if they could make us something special, you know, no oil, raw dressing, fat
Mm-hmm.
salad. So that way we can actually like, see, cause it's nice to be served and sit into some of these places,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful restaurants, you know, overlooking, you know, the city or, you know, maybe it's inside, still beautiful. But yeah, it's I know, man. It's, you know, I trip out even still. Like, wow, we live in, I say like at least once a week, you know, we live in Vegas. Like this is crazy. Uh
That is insane. Dude, I'm learning so much about you. I had no idea that you were a glass blower. You
Oh
worked in
yeah. Yeah.
construction. You were an
Hmm.
electric guy. I mean,
Yeah,
you
bro.
know,
I've done a lot
you
of
made
stuff, man.
you made
S-
dildos. I mean,
I
this is
slung cable. Dildos were good money, bro.
I
They were good
bet.
money.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, they were hot to make though, because it's, you know, it's solid. I didn't do hollow. I did solid glass dildos, and
Damn.
you know, that's like in the summertime in Oregon, I would do a graveyard shift because it was just too hot. You know, you're surrounded by kilns.
Oh
The
yeah.
kiln is what you put the glass in to temper the glass. Um, you know, because it's been moved and stretched and color added and all these things.
Yeah.
So it like brings it back to just a, you know, cohesive state. You know, those kilns are sitting at, you know, 1200 degrees. You know, your torch is blowing out a flame, blasting a chunk of glass that's refracting heat on you. It's just so hot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude. And then I got into, you know, construction, broke myself. I fell like, you know, 37 feet.
What?
Yeah, and shattered my ankle and my wrist.
Wow.
And that's what got me into becoming a CNA.
Mm.
I was like, I need to get into nursing or something like more chill. You know, like I could get a job anywhere in the world if I was a CNA, like they need them. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if necessarily know if I want to go back to school to become a nurse. So then I got into the medical field, and that's really what started to. I worked in the cardio. I worked in all kinds of areas of the, you know, healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I worked with Alzheimer's patients. I worked with, you know, a whole wing. I had 21 residents in a SNF. They call it a skilled nursing facility or an old age home. 21 residents that were all incontinent because I was the FNG,
Mm.
the freaking new guy. So they put me over there. You know, it's literally just changing people and keeping them clean. You come back to the beginning and then do it all over again, and then your
Mm.
shift's done. Hard work, horrible,
I bet.
you know, to see how people are treated. And then, you know, worked in the cardiac unit, worked in pulmonary and endocrinology, working with people who can't breathe,
Mm-hmm.
who have diabetes, seeing all these things that are food related. So, like, it's so fascinating, all the steps and things that happen in our life that shape us into who we become and who we are, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and then I dreamt, like, oh my gosh, it'd be so cool to be like a YouTuber content creator, you know,
Yeah.
like just sharing the knowledge of food, like how powerful eating a mango can be for you if you just
Magic.
swap out the breakfast sandwich,
Yep.
You know, it's so easy to stop at the gas station in the morning. The kids are off to school. You're going to stop at the gas station. You're going to get a fried burrito, some ranch, a couple energy drinks,
Yes.
some JoJo's. You know what the JoJo's are, right?
No, never had a JoJo.
So a JoJo is basically a potato wedge, a deep fried potato
Oh,
wedge. They have
okay.
some breading on it. They call them JoJo's over here.
Okay.
Or they could call them spuds or potato wedges, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, gas station food, bro.
I've had a
Like,
potato wedge, so yeah.
yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
You dip it in ranch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or barbecue sauce, or both.
Yeah.
Barbecue sauce, then ranch.
Yeah. I love the
Pace it down with some Red Bull.
ketchup
Okay,
ranch ketchup ranch combo.
ketchup ranch combo.
Yeah.
Dude, in Rogue River, there's a town next to Rogue River called Grants Pass. And we had a pizza place called Abby's. And Abby's had a pump. They had 3 pumps in the dining area around the salad bar because people like ketchup and ranch
Mm-hmm.
for your spuds, right? Your
Yep.
potato wedges or
Yep.
whatever. They
Yep.
called them spuds at Abby's because they were just like coined between deep fried potatoes,
Okay.
breaded and deep fried.
Yep.
But in Rogue River, so ranch, do you guys put pizza on or a ranch on your pizza back there?
Yeah. Yeah,
your
that was my big thing. In high school,
Yeah.
I would mix ketchup and ranch and put it on my pizza.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's like a huge thing. And of course, I feel like it started with the crust of the pizza. You have like a basically a breadstick. So you want
Yeah.
to dip the, you know. So anyways, Grant's Pat had 2 ketchup pumps, 1 ranch pump. But Rogue River had 2 ranch pumps, 1 ketchup pump, because that's how much like people wanted ranch, just dousing their pizza in
Yeah,
ranch
yeah.
dressing. Which I worked at Abby's in high school, and I made that ranch, and it's just like pure buttermilk and just mayonnaise. And
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just,
yeah.
oh, thinking about it now, like I made it in a trash can. You know, of course, it was a brand new trash can.
Used.
I'm sure, cleaned for ranch, like, but just so gross. Like,
Yeah.
that's how much ranch we made. We made it in a freaking trash can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should have stayed there.
But yeah, dude, it's crazy though. Yeah, all these different, you know, these different things that, I don't remember how we even skirted onto that, but yeah, these different things that we, used to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how we treated ourselves. Oh, there it was, the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing through the lens now, it's like, wow, there's a lot of work to be done. Like, how can we try to inspire people to just add more fruits and vegetables to their life?
Right.
Like, that alone will really help. Like, I remember making my dad a salad, and he's like, I feel really good. And I'm like, Dad, because you got more vegetables than you have in the last 3 months in that one salad. Like, come on. Because he's eating beef and cheese sticks. You buy them at the gas station.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like the beef and the cheese. And,
Yep.
he always had Pepsi, is smoking cigarettes. And
Mhm.
my dad ate horribly. Lay's
Mine too.
potato chips, bologna, microwaved bologna sandwich on white bread with mayonnaise.
Dude.
Oh,
I
I couldn't get it in, dude. He'd make me them when I was a kid. Oh no, I
Dude,
don't
I
want
made
it.
that in college.
Oh, just like, oh my gosh. So now it's like we're never gonna retire because there's
Yeah.
just, and this isn't like back-breaking laborious work.
Right.
Being like, someone who creates content and writes, recipe books and teaches people how to cut vegetables.
Mhm.
It's not very hard on our backs. So
Right.
like me and Lissa both were like, we'll be doing this forever.
Yeah.
Like this is us. Like this is what we'll be doing for probably the rest of our life because there's
Yeah.
so many people that are coming to the realization that they ought to be eating more healthfully.
Right.
But what do you do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make. How do you make? I don't want to just, have a, that's so boring just to have like, vegetables, right? Like, well, it's like, here, let's cut the vegetables like this and we'll make a cool dressing and we'll put it up like that. Like last night I made a pad thai for us.
Nice.
Actually, it was a peanut satay.
Okay.
A peanut satay dressing, cucumber noodles, some finely shredded carrots and bok choy and bell pepper and cilantro and green onion. And what else did I put in there? I think that might have been it. But, and then, that dressing on there, and
Yeah.
it was just, some lemon or lime juice. It was just so delicious.
Mm.
It's like, it hits the flavor all the taste buds.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, so yeah, it's interesting, bro. All the different things that we do.
Right.
And for me, I'm a very passionate and excitable person. And yeah, I just, I got so excited about
Mm-hmm.
this lifestyle, raw foodie,
Right.
raw food enthusiast. Oh, so good. Living foods, right? And, of course, it can be kind of tricky because every niche, just like this is going to be another video I'm going to make. I haven't started writing it out yet, but how every niche like has their things. Like we get hounded on by the purest natural hygiene community.
Oh yeah.
And it makes me just like loathe being a raw foodie. I don't want to
Agreed.
be associated with raw foodies
Yeah.
because of this pretentious, elitist, purist kind of energy.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking about backpacking. We love going backpacking, which is you carry everything that you need on your back to go hike all day long, sleep out in nature, wake up, you got everything you need. You got your food, your water. So there's this thing called ultralight backpacking. Then there's lightweight backpacking, and I'm not sure what the next one would be where you're not even really worried about weight.
Breatharian.
Ult- brother. So some people have 40 or 50 pounds worth of gear on their back. That's really uncomfortable to hike, especially all day and doing elevation where you might be climbing 3,000 feet in the day, maybe even close to 5,000 feet elevation gain in a day. That's a lot of weight to carry.
Yeah.
So there's amazing companies making gear, and I'm a gearhead when it comes to all things outdoors. Ultralight means your base weight. Your base weight would be, I'm going to take this little remote here. This is the backpack. Everything in the backpack, aside from food and water, would be considered your base weight. So that's your filter, your, little, latrine kit, first aid, maybe charger for your phone,
Mm-hmm.
headlamp, your sleep system being like your sleeping bag and pillow, air mattress, your shelter, like your tent. Everything is in your pack aside from food and water. That would be your base weight. Ultralight is 10 pounds or less.
Okay.
That's very light. 10 pounds
That's
for
nothing.
your dude. That's incredible. So when I was researching all of this, when I did the Colorado Trail with my son, Jonah, my oldest, I was like, I don't know if I can get to be ultralight because I want a pillow,
Mm-hmm.
and there's certain things that I'm just like, what, I'll carry the extra few grams
Yeah.
because they're like, in the community, they're called like gram weenies. People are like, oh my gosh, that's 13 grams. That's going to set me over. Like they want their base weight to be under 10 pounds, which is
Okay.
awesome. Because, you have your water's heavy, food's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to add food and water, you're up there 35 pounds, 30 pounds, unless, you don't carry very much or whatever. I mean, I know there's people out there who are like, less than 20 pounds for their food and water. And then they have shipments coming in if they're doing like long distance.
Okay.
But if you're doing long distance, you're hiking for months on end, 6 months. People who do like the big trails, like the AZT or the, what is it? Should I forgot? There's the PCT over here, it's going from Mexico to Canada.
Mm.
There's the Continental Divide Trail, which is, I feel like, I think it might be a loop. Yeah, it's a loop up to Mexico and Canada and back.
Mm. Wow.
People could correct me if I'm wrong. Then there's one up on the East Coast. Gosh darn it, I can't remember what the heck that one is called. Either way, you want your pack to be light. So then if you're not under 10 pounds, you're not in the ultralight group. The ultralight group would be, in my mind, kind of like the
Natural
purists.
hygienist.
Yeah, the natural hygiene crew.
Yeah.
Then you have the lightweight group, which is anything under 15, in between 10 and 15 pounds. Then you're in the lightweight category,
Okay.
right? You see these like little discrepancies between these in this niche, and
Yeah.
these people fight each other.
Ugh.
Because, I did a lot of research. I'm into like doing my homework because
Yeah.
I wanted to have the best, most comfortable time when I was backpacking the Colorado Trail. So I learned all about these things. And I was lightweight. My base weight was under 12 pounds. which was amazing. It
Yeah.
was so rad. I felt like people thought I was an old school backpacker, and I'm like, this is my first backpacking trip ever. I've gone camping, car camping with the kids. We're bringing way more stuff than we need because we have the truck.
Uh-huh.
But everything was on my back. I felt like there was such an empowering feeling. But I was starting to see how these niches are at each other's throats. They're in the same niche,
Yeah.
but they're like talking smack about, other content creators because, this or that, just like silly little shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And the same goes for like the knife sharpening community. I got into knives and was like, how I want to have sharp knives. Like, is it best to sharpen your knife this way or that way? And it's so funny because it's one creator I'll never forget. He's like, if you're ever lost in the woods, just make a video on how to sharpen a knife and everybody will come running and tell you you're doing it wrong and you're saved. You know what I'm like?
Right.
That's so rad, bro. So it's so funny how you have all these different things. And, that would, for me and Lissa, like our thing is not to make raw foodies more raw foodie,
Yeah.
or vegans more vegan. We're trying to connect with the freaking people out on the street out
Yeah, yeah.
here, man, just to have us try having a smoothie or some fruit for your breakfast or soak some oats or make some chia pudding. Here's a recipe, super simple. Just swap that out for 1 week, see how you feel,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So we're never going to be bored because, dude, there's so many people who have no clue at all about diet and nutrition.
Exactly.
And not that we know everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I, love about certain people in, these niches is I admire the people who can pivot on a dime
Yeah.
from finding new research that makes sense, right? That's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, like I really admire doctors who promote a carnivore based diet until they actually like remove the biased lens
Mm-hmm.
and see, like, really look at the research, and not everything is funded by, the opposite sides or whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they pivot. To me, I'm like, that's a sign of a highly intelligent individual.
Yeah.
And then they say, I was wrong, right? So, and I feel like that can be something that, I see here is like, you have people who have been doing this 25, 30 some years, and they're not furthering their education. In the hospital, it was mandatory. You had to like further education. You have to like stay on the up and up.
Right.
You have to go get recertified for CPR. Like you're revisiting certain things. You're learning new things. Like furthering your education is really important.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really, it shows signs of a highly intelligent person who can ingest new information that goes against what they may have believed before.
Yes.
And the reason I brought the backpacking up into it is because I'm like, I want to make a video, but I don't want to like I don't want to like hurt people's feelings or, talk trash about people,
Mm-hmm.
but I do at the same time, you know, but like, how can I talk about it in a way that makes sense, but I'm not like threading in the raw food niche? Like, let's talk about the backpacking, right? So it's like, oh, it's the same thing. And Lissa's like, oh my gosh, the photography world was the same. And I'm like, yeah, it's got to be the same for fishing or biking. I know for cycling, it's the same. You've got the electrical bikes or you got the straight up, pedal power, like they're skiers and snowboarders. You know what I mean? It's just like
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of, we're living in duality,
Yes.
polarity, you know?
I mean, that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about Vegas. I mean, that's like it's the epitome. It's the microcosm of the macrocosm of the duality of the world, right?
Totally.
You got the hobo taking a dump on the sidewalk on one street or one side, and on the other side of the street, people are getting married, having the best
Correct.
day of their life. So
Having the best day of their life. And then there's somebody like spray painting like some killer art.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just like, wow, look at this is it's like everything everywhere all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Aside from, having the natural stream and the birds.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not right down there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
So
so funny. It's funny stuff. Yeah. Worlds, the different worlds, and you attune yourself to these worlds. Like like I was saying earlier, if we lived in Costa Rica or Puerto Rico or Bali, like we would shift, like we would be slightly different, because of that environment for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, of course, I'm not going to say completely different because, we're still essentially the same people. But
Hmm.
yeah, like we would, the way that we would travel somewhere or the way that the things that we would have, right? Like we wouldn't be driving a Toyota Tacoma if we're living in Bali,
Hmm. Right.
Yeah. So, and of course, it's like there's so many, there's just so many different ways to live life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I feel like, you know, living somewhere, doing things that you enjoy that bring comfort to your life where you're like not stressed out
Yep.
is key. And yeah, I
Absolutely.
don't really feel stressed out here. There have been some times in the beginning because it was an adjustment for me moving here. But yeah, I do. I come to love Las Vegas more and more um, over the time. Every time we leave and come back, I'm like, ah, it feels good to be home,
Mm.
But
Hmm.
of course, that's because this is home
Yeah.
right now,
Right.
So if we moved somewhere else, I'd be like, ah, like Colorado, man. There's certain spots in Colorado that are just so
Oh
gorgeous.
yeah.
I'd love to live, but I'm like, ah, then we're so far from the ocean. Not that we were at the ocean a couple times this year, and I just love being able to be so close to the ocean.
Hmm.
I've always been kind of close to the ocean, and part of me is like, oh, I feel like I'd nut up if I was, too far from the ocean. Like we could be there, by dinner time if we wanted to leave right now.
Right.
Heck,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Colorado, it's beautiful as well, but then you got to deal with
Hmm.
the heavy winters too. It's not
Yeah, bro. I
though.
know.
I've been there in the winter. The cold there is not the same cold even as here in Minnesota. Like I looked it
Yeah.
up. We're at seven today. We're at 79% humidity. So it's even though it's
Oh.
36 degrees or whatever it is, it's so
Yeah,
it's not
you're into
pleasant.
gear too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's tricky when you get into the gear aspect and being vegan. It's like, dang it, merino wool is so amazing.
Mm,
So amazing. Leather,
mm,
incredible,
yeah.
right? Down for sleeping bags and your jacket, amazing.
Mm,
But
yeah.
as a vegan, I'm like, I can't buy that. I'm
Right.
not going to vote for that.
Yeah.
I know those are going to be the best socks in the world, but they have merino wool in them. So I'm going to vote no,
Yeah.
which, this is why I feel like people, you know, are like, this is another thing I feel like that really needs to be discussed a lot is what veganism really is,
Mm-hmm.
because people could be like, yeah, I'm vegan, I only eat plants. It's like, well, you're missing the plot there though. Like you have a leather belt or you just bought those leather shoes. Like
Right.
that's not vegan.
Yep.
Um, so, if someone who's plant based, or plant exclusive doesn't mean they're vegan,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have, that was another reason that I couldn't be ultralight is because I was vegan. I didn't have a down
Oh,
sleeping bag. Mine was synthetic. If I had a down sleeping bag, I would have been in the ultralight category.
sure.
But yeah, or my Patagonia Nano, I think it's a Nano Puff, and that was also synthetic. And it is, I can't remember how many grams heavier than the down, but I'm like, I'm not going to buy the down.
Mm-hmm.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. We got to make compromises, or we gotta make sacrifices. To
Sacrifices. Yeah. I mean, used, I haven't bought stuff that isn't vegan that's used because I don't need anything really. Like I
mm-hmm.
have pretty much everything that I need as far as gear for, backpacking and that sort of thing, or like snowboarding. But if I was to buy something, like I've contemplated, I was really close to trying to find a used down sleeping bag for that trip.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, because I feel like that's a bit different.
I
Like
agree.
it's repurposed,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of it's like a way to justify it. I know I have some friends who are like, I could never put leather on my body. And I'm like, yeah, I can get that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. but I have a pair of Thorogood boots that I've had for 15 years, and I'm not going to get rid of them. And
Yeah.
I don't feel, gross wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a pair of leather gloves also that I've had before I was vegan,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still kicking. And I keep them in the door of my truck, and I use those gloves so many times, every single time we go out, chopping wood or grabbing sticks or whatever
Yep.
with those gloves on. But yeah, they're I know it's so interesting, the minds of man and women,
Yeah.
the minds of humans,
Yeah.
like where it can take us and our perspectives and these sorts of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We could drive ourselves crazy,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But no,
and some of these people do.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh my
I
gosh.
too, far
Yeah.
too many, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
Um,
we are living in a body,
yeah.
and there's laws that take place in this dimension. There's cause and effect.
Yep.
Praying over your food or not, there's still cause and effect. And, I love the concept of some of these things that we run across in this niche, breatharianism. Like that's the pinnacle. After you get off of the transitional vegan foods, then you go into like the more gourmet raw, and then you get into like super high raw fruitarian, and then you get into like juice fasting, and then it's water fasting, and then it's breatharian, and then you're dead.
Yeah.
Like people die, and
Mm,
we're amazing creatures. Like we can kill ourselves.
you
And
can.
the whole breatharian thing, like, I don't know, I probably get like at least a couple people trying to school me on stuff at least, once a month about breatharianism.
Really?
And oh yeah.
Wow.
And it's like the guy who came up with it got caught eating McDonald's because he said it was a fifth dimensional food.
Mm,
And it's just so interesting how part of me feels like some of these things could be like controlled opposition,
oh yeah.
right? Like this individual is promoting this one thing, but whether they realize it or not, they're actually kind of working for, the
Mm-hmm.
malevolent side, and is wreaking havoc on humanity from what they are preaching.
Yeah.
And
I think there's a lot of that.
I yeah, in all kinds of niches for
Yes.
sure. There's
Yes.
this guy that I would watch, Dakota Wint, his name is, and he's kind of a psychonaut world traveler. And he had this conversation, I believe, with someone, or he heard the story of someone who was like moved away. They wanted to be the monk, right? They moved to the mountaintops. They're a monk. They're doing all the monk things. And in their meditation, they realize, wait, I'm a human living on earth. Like I should be a part of the world. So they decided to like let it all go and go back and, have a beer and just experience being a human. And it's interesting when you tap into the spiritual, like woke kind of conscious communities, and how there's the same kind of things. There's people who they're stuck and struggling, and they're you know kind of doing more harm than good
Mm-hmm.
by sharing what they may be sharing is going to be beneficial to somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
um yeah, and it's interesting, like, or I feel like a lot of the hate that we get a lot of times are from the like spiritual or religious communities.
Oh yeah.
It's like, dang, that was a vile DM. Like, geez. And you go to their page, you're like, oh, they like are sharing some Bible verse. It's like, man, they're struggling. Like they're
Yes.
searching. This is poor thing. Like they should come to Vegas. Let it go.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I see
I
that.
know it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, yeah, obviously every group has that, but I just somebody shared a post with me about somebody not kind of what you mentioned earlier about not wanting to really be associated with the raw vegan label,
Mm-hmm.
because just about like the judgment and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And somebody
Mm-hmm.
shared a post with me with somebody saying basically the same thing. And it's
Mm.
true. It's like,
Yeah.
and I've seen that, with religious people and
Hmm.
with, whatever you want to look at. But
Yeah.
it's the people that they want the image of being
Mm.
like so pure, so
Hmm.
like just elitist, and
Yeah.
then when you actually interact with them, you can
Hmm.
just see that they're
Yeah.
they're not quite what they want to
Right.
look like. So
Yeah. Like they have all the answers.
right.
And I feel like any extremist niche, like, and I'm kind of skirting because I'm thinking of the backpack community or, like the running community. A lot of people who run like ultra marathons and stuff are recovering addicts of some sort. So they have to
Sure.
have something. And
Yep.
I feel like with raw food, and this very, very possibly could be for, the carnivore side of things as well, is it kind of attracts people who are going through an intense life threatening crisis of some sort. And they're searching for answers and they
Mm-hmm.
want to go, more alternative, so to speak, than the conventional, route. And those two words can be broke down. We could have a whole conversation about alternative and conventional, because like what is alternative used to be like the mainstream. This is like what was up. You go to the medicine woman, you get the herbs, right?
Right.
So, but it's so interesting how many people with, I want to say disorders, disordered relationships with themselves, with the food, with other people, with the world, like it attracts people like that. Um, And of course, it's interesting because you might think, oh, I'm a raw foodie, you're a raw foodie. Like we should play, we should hang out. And just because someone eats the same thing doesn't mean that you're going to get along or find anything in common or even just like each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they eat the same thing.
Right.
So that's another thing too, is, kind of hurts because you think like, oh, everybody like, there's not a lot of people who really get along. There's people who are really struggling, who are
Yeah.
searching for their healing, and they're doing it through raw food, or they're really, they're scared. You have people who are, um, you know, yeah, just like, I'm doing this 30 years. I know everything, like,
Right.
you know, don't read anything that's, anything newer than 100 years old, but yet like, just all kinds of things that just, that's where I'm just like, I don't want to, yeah, I don't want anything to do with
Mm-hmm.
the, and it's so harsh to say, and maybe somebody would pull this from this video and take it out of context, but yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be associated with the raw food crew. Like,
Right.
I don't like the raw food niche at all in so many ways when it comes down to the actual people. And not to
Mm-hmm.
say that everybody is horrible,
Yeah.
but it's just like it's so cringe and it's so fringe. And I don't want to be a part of the cringe and fringe, but yet I am. I'm totally in it. I'm on the fringe. I'm really weird. People call me a hippie and, and all the stuff. And, I'll own it. Like, yeah, I'm freaking weird. And, this is another thing that made me think like people are like, oh, he's on the spectrum. And it's like, there's a spectrum. Everybody's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at on the spectrum, every single freaking one of us is on that spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on where we're at on the spectrum. Because, people say, well, he's on the spectrum. But that person saying it is also on the spectrum because we're all on this freaking spectrum. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
So it's finding people that we can, get along with who are, on the same, maybe in the same, if it were to be color graded, in the same color of the spectrum that we are. We're like, yeah,
Right.
I really dig this. Like, like I've always dug you. Me and Lissa have always really dug you. And,
Likewise.
you know, yeah. So it's like you're on that spectrum that, we can, appreciate and deal with. Not
Yeah.
to say that we have to deal with you, you know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's kind of funny though, because
Hmm.
yeah, there's people that I've met at festivals, and I'm like, I would never talk to this person
Mm-hmm.
or even want to if we were at a party or something like that. I wouldn't be, but since we're standing in this line waiting for our cucumber noodles, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a conversation with this person. And I'm just being like, this is real talk, that's
Hey,
right. This is just real talk. So,
the description of the video of our show,
yep.
unscripted. It's unscripted. It's unfiltered. So
Yeah, totally.
anything goes.
Yeah, right. But I love people, and I do feel that, I like to hold the image in my head that, we win. And what are we winning? We're winning over like these forces and organizations and corporations that are so massive that don't have our best interest at hand. And we are being played so well off of each other, because look at us in the vegan community, or even more so the enlightened raw vegan community,
Yeah.
and how we're fighting each other in this freaking community, man.
Yeah.
And it's like the sports, right? Or the political parties or the religion. It's all like the best term is divide and conquer.
Yeah.
They keep us so divided. Like, we're so divided. It's heartbreaking, because it's like, will we ever come to a point where we all see through how the boot is on all of our necks? Because we all want the same shit, man. We all want a good shelter. We want love and family around us. We want good food. We want, nature, freedom.
Yep.
We all want that, all of us. Yeah. And so it's just, it doesn't matter what political party or what God you pray to or what badge you wear on your sleeve. Like, we're all on the spectrum and we're all a little weird.
Yeah.
It just would be so nice if we could see through it and see each other as ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing that I just learned, 'cause I'm not. I know you're a musical guy, right? You're musically inclined. You play the
Yeah.
you play the guitar.
I strum the guitar a little bit. I mean, I got the guitars in the background.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
one was Lissa's, one I got from my parents. They had in the garage. I don't play, bro. Like,
Oh, okay.
I know a few chords, and like, I can strum a couple songs or whatever, but
Okay.
I was a percussionist. I built hand drums. I love drums. But yeah,
Jeez.
I definitely would say that I'm
Wow.
musically inclined.
Dude,
I've got a didgeridoo,
what don't
the
you do?
crystal bowls.
You've done
Bro,
everything.
I've done a
You're-
lot of stuff. I've lived many lives,
yeah,
bro.
that's incredible. But so I'm taking this sound mastery online
Mm,
course through the Ohm store. I got it.
nice.
I got it with my bowl that came.
No way.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So what I learned, and I'm trying to learn more about um, music and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
Yeah.
but so to create harmony, right?
Mm,
Like so you can create unison with two of the same note, right? But
okay. That's unison. Right.
yeah, but if you go, so you actually have more disharmony the closer you get to that note. So say you do, and again, I don't know the notes that well. So
Right.
like A and
As they as
C,
they as they come together in unison, there's more disharmony before
yes,
it gets to unison.
yes, exactly. So
Mm.
there's more, yeah, you can create harmony by using
Yeah.
notes that are further apart. But as you get
See,
closer, like if you're hitting the
to
A key,
unison.
yeah, then
Yeah.
there's more disharmony until you get to A, to the unison.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like that's kind of
Maybe where we're at.
yeah,
Like, in in the story of humanity at this point in time.
right. I hope
Dude,
so.
I
I hope so.
I hope so too. There's, how like the pendulum swings,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you reach this pause before it swings back the other way. It pauses for a moment. Even though it's like a nice fluid swing, it's pausing. Taking that and threading that through the concept of the great cycle. The great cycle being nearly 26,000 years, because we sit in each astrological procession for like a little over 2,000 years, or maybe it's just under. I think it's a little over 2,000 years. Either way, there's 12 zodiacs,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're in each one of those for like a little over 2,000 years. So we're in Pisces, finishing up Pisces supposedly by 2156
Okay.
is supposed to be like, that's the complete end of the age before we're into, this is all has to do with stars. I don't articulate it very well, but we'll be in Aquarius, right? So, but just a picture, if we sit in all of these for 25,900 and some odd, I just say it's 26,000, I round up, 26,000 years, bro. Like we only have really recorded history, you know, because a lot of stuff's been wiped out for like 2,000 years. You know, that's where recording time is, you know, after Christ, right?
Yeah.
The birth of Christ or whatever. But I know like, you know, Eastern philosophy and, you know, there's stuff that maybe can date back 5,000 years or maybe a little more, you know, further than that. Of course, you know, like the Emerald tablets are older than that, right? But, you know, recorded history, we're at 2025, but that's actually wrong if we are like going back to that natural, you know, cycle with the great calendar,
Right.
the Zolkin or the Mayan calendar. And it's interesting to picture how there's the yin and the yang, right? And very possibly we are in this segment where we are becoming more in unison. And there is all this disharmony because, you know, like you're saying, as you get closer to that, before we reach, you know, what is it? Did you say unison or what was
Unison.
the term?
Yeah. Unison. Yep.
Yeah. So before we reach the unison, it makes sense. Like, you know, it's like you can hear
Yeah. Yeah.
before it comes into the perfect. And I like to picture that the dark can't, the dark being the malevolent forces, being it's $15 for a bag of grapes, $7 for 2 large pizzas. Like
Yeah.
that's malevolent.
Yeah.
That is not humanity's best interest at hand. That is all money, you know,
Right.
not caring about the body and these sorts of things. I like to picture though that there has to be a point in time on that great cycle where the light prevails and we are running this planet at such a more optimal level. And of course, I love history and conspiracies and, you know, Earth's forbidden secrets, like these different temples and stuff that we come across. A lot of stuff's been wiped out, but we're looking at some of, you know, I follow some of these pages and they're like, look at the floor plan of this temple. It's the same as a computer chip, right? Or look at, I'll send you these kinds of things if you're into it. It's really interesting stuff. And it's like very possibly because we don't have the technology or even the know-how to build some of these buildings that they did, you know, whatever, however many thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So we were obviously at a more advanced stage.
Right.
And, you know, 26,000 years though, bro. Like, you know, and of course, supposedly, who knows about any of this stuff, right? But, you know, like supposedly we're finishing up like the 4th or the 5th great cycle as, you know, humans, which would be like over 100,000 years. And, you know, this is all fascinating stuff. I just like to have my head in the clouds. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
But it's like, just interesting because there has to be a point in time where we do run this place more efficiently and we are more in unison. Right. Because we all want the same shit, man. We all want the same stuff. Like we don't want money. We want what money can bring.
Yeah.
Like if when I was doing, you know, sales calls and I would paint, you know, have the person paint the dream. Most people want the same thing. They want the money so they can help their family or help their community or start a sanctuary or start a retreat. They want to help people.
Right.
They want more people to be like higher vibrational, you know?
Yep.
And it's just, you know, it's fascinating that you say that because it's like, you know, it can be disheartening looking through a certain lens. Like, you know, I can't say that I haven't had suicidal thoughts in my life. Because it's a hard place to live as a human being.
It is.
And sometimes, you know, you're like, I don't know if I want to play anymore. You know, like maybe I want to just go home, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, there's definitely, you know, in so many ways, a lot of disharmony right now. And, you know, hopefully that's a sign of, you know, coming into more of that unison, more realizing that we all have the boot on our neck.
Right.
Right. Like taxes. Come on.
Yeah, man.
There's no law in any book saying we have to pay taxes, but it's all Gestapo mafia style. We do it because we're told to do it. We're scared they're going to come and rape you out of your house in the middle of the night.
Right.
and it's just so fascinating how much power we as the people have, but we can't get in unison,
Hmm.
right? You've got
Or even
the
just in harmony, right? Like
in harmony. Yeah,
we don't,
just in
yeah,
harmony.
we don't have to be the exact same, that's
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
but we,
I like harmony better.
yeah,
Harmony
just
is the two
being,
different notes,
yeah,
but they're,
you can be different
yep,
notes, but
yep,
if you create a peaceful and just harmonic tone together,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all you need. And that's why I feel like,
yeah,
I mean, you can even look at, maybe that's why we don't really get along with everybody in the raw vegan community, because
yeah,
they're like just they're like an A sharp,
yeah.
if that's right.
That make,
A and A
yeah,
sharp just
totally.
sound awful
Yeah,
together.
they sound
So
awful
yeah, so
together.
you just kind of repel
Yeah,
each other. So maybe that's,
right. Yeah, I like the concept of harmony more so than unison, because unison, I'm thinking about that. Like unison, it would just be stillness. It
yeah.
would probably be pretty boring,
Yeah,
you
everybody would
know?
be the same tone.
Right.
You want to have a little
Yeah.
variation, some,
Yeah. We need that harmony.
yes.
Yeah. I know. But yeah, it's so fascinating, and Liz and I do our best to stay as neutral as we can,
Sure.
because there's a lot of people with strong opinions. And then, of course, coming to the realization it's like we don't need to have an opinion about everything. Like, what do you think about that? And I don't think about that, actually. I don't even really want to think about that,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. But yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. But
Mm.
the fact remains that the body does good with high fiber, and we need more fruits and vegetables in our life.
It's as simple as that. It really
It's
is.
an undisputed fact to the matter.
Yes. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
man.
Uh,
Well, man,
Good stuff,
it's getting
bro.
close to noon here, so
Yeah,
this has
let's
been
do it.
an amazing chat again, as always. So I look forward to next week as well. And before we log
Yeah,
out,
bro.
I meant to bring this up right when we started.
Mm,
Um, let's
we'll get better.
Yeah,
We'll get better.
we will. Let's let people know about your school communities and how they
Oh,
can
yeah.
be a part of, all the stuff you guys got going on.
Okay, that's a great idea, man. So our school community, it's the Raw Food Romance school community. And right now we're running 30% off for enrollment. And what we do in there is basically share everything that we know about raw foods, different recipes, from fermenting to making smoothies. Um, and it's a really great place for people to connect with one another. We do challenges. Right now, we have an apple a day challenge going on.
Nice.
So, different ways to incorporate an apple into your life, right? Like, whether it's in a dressing or a salad or a smoothie or, all kinds of different ways. Alyssa writes up really amazing, posts every single day. She pours a lot into this community. But what's so cool is the people that are in the community and the support that they give one another. It's beautiful to see. And we get real, we're not scripted or anything like that. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Some of our classes, technically like they're scheduled for an hour, but sometimes we go 3. So, we go deep on all kinds of things, talking about everything, health, nutrition, whatever. People have questions, these sorts of things. So that's our school community.
Cool.
Yeah, 30% off right now. And do you have the link? I could send you the
I
link over
do. There,
again.
it's already in
Okay.
the description box. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, so that's a really fun place to connect with us, and we have over 20, well, we've got over 25 books. I believe we have 28 books. We've got courses. Our whole mission really is just to help people have fun with raw food, make raw food fun and and delicious.
Yeah.
So our whole goal is to help people just incorporate more raw foods into their life. We're not trying to reach any levels of purity aside from just feeling freaking amazing in our bodies the older we get. We're all going to die, but like what kind of life do we want to live, right? Raw
Yeah.
foods are so powerful. So yeah, that's what we have going on. We also have a meal plan app. Sometimes it can be really tricky, the fast pace of life. You don't know what to make. Maybe you don't want to read a book, like a meal plan book. You can just have the app, and the app will generate out 5 days worth of recipes for you: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, shopping lists. It'll even know if you make that recipe, like what you should have left. So it's not going to have you buy more. It's really
Cool.
an amazing app. There's the macro breakdown. I'm sorry, the calorie breakdown. I'm not sure if the macros are in there, but there's the calorie breakdown. So you can rest assured you're getting enough calories for the day.
Nice.
But yeah, that's what we have going on, man. We're
Love
working
it.
on a couple new books right now. They'll be out this next year, and yeah, it's just never ending, bro. We got
Yeah,
lots of stuff to talk about.
absolutely. That's great. Love it. And yeah, dude, this is why you'll be doing this, you know, you're never going to
Yeah,
retire because there's
right.
literally just so many ways to make this lifestyle more approachable. And,
Yeah,
there's count unlimited recipes that you can come up with.
right.
So,
And so many people just have no idea.
yeah.
It's interesting. We talk to people who are like, I've got friends who are nurses. I've got friends who are doctors too.
Hmm.
And they're like, whoa, I didn't know that. And I'm just like, dang, you're a doctor. You think like doctors are just like, we hold them on these pedestals.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people just have no clue about certain simple things and how fast and quick and easy it can be. So that's another thing that we, strive to do is to show people like how quick it can actually be to make something fresh, gourmet, oil free,
Yep.
Of course, fruit is amazing, and fruit is, on a pedestal uh, in a lot of ways, but, what can we make? Sometimes you want that savory,
Oh, yeah.
it's like,
Absolutely.
what can you do that's savory? So yeah, and then of course we've got the holidays coming up. So that's another thing we talk a lot about in the schools, how to kind of chart these events with family members and these sorts of things because that can be really tricky.
Yeah.
There's like the four different kinds of people. You got the heckler, you got the inquisitive questioner, you've got you know just these different people that are in our circle groups that because we as someone who's doing something different, we are the mirror, right?
Hmm.
These people are like, I should probably eat a salad, but if we get into this, it's really uncomfortable sitting around a table where everybody's eating stuff that is not good for them and we're the only one eating something that is a lot healthier than what other people are eating, and then the topic becomes that like how unhealthy this food is. That's not a good look or a good place to be. Like that's not a conversation for the dinner table.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a mirror. You're a mirror when are doing different things.
You are.
Just going to the grocery store, just things like when all your vegetables and fruit are on the conveyor belt, someone is saying, like, wow, that's a lot of vegetables. You'd be like, yeah, I'm just trying to eat healthier.
Yeah.
That it is so different than, yeah, I'm a raw vegan. Yeah, I'm trying to eat healthier, or yeah, I'm a raw vegan. Completely changes the demeanor and the exchange of conversation with that checker.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, depending on the person you are, I'm not a person that wants to, you know, I mean, I totally, as you can tell, I freaking ramble forever. Like I want to talk to these people, and help them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
they got someone else on the, they need to check out right
Right.
after us. So it's so much nicer when you say, yeah, I'm just trying to eat healthier. They're like, oh yeah, I really want to start eating healthier too. Like everybody wants to do
Yeah.
better and eat better and healthier.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where we'll never be bored, man. We've got so much work to do.
Yeah. We do.
So much. All of us, you too, bro. We got a lot of work to do to help people understand how simple it is to make a smoothie.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
the benefits of pressing a juice, as opposed to drinking wine or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there's benefits to wine too.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, man.
Well,
Well,
sweet brother. It's awesome to connect with you, man. Always.
you as well. You as well. It's
If
always a great time. And thank you, everybody. We'll get to some of these. There was some really good comments and questions in there, but
oh
yeah,
dang, we should have paused.
it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. So thank you everybody for being here and for all your interaction in the group chat there, having some great conversations. Just gonna end us with this nice sound bowl.
Yeah. Oh, I can't hear it.
You really? Oh,
Try there.
how about here?
Nope. The mic doesn't pick it up.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
probably maybe because it's Zoom, like when you blend something, like
Yes.
you can't hear the blender.
Dang.
I saw your video though of playing the bowls, but that was awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So good.
yeah.
And you got those candles for inside, dude.
Yes.
Send me a link. Send
Yeah.
me a link on those.
Okay.
Those are killer.
Will do. Will do.
I know we were gonna touch upon the bowls. Maybe we can do that next Saturday
Sure.
and talk about the bowls.
Yeah.
Another thing I was gonna mention is maybe screenshot the chat or some of those questions, and we can
For sure.
maybe there's some good good video topics to talk about in there too or something.
Yeah, I will do that.
Right on.
All
Heck
right.
yeah, you guys.
Thanks,
We'll see y'all.
guys. We'll see you next week. All right, take care.